this is a positive. I think if we can get salon business owners, and it's the same with mental health awareness and all the other issues as well, and this obviously is clearly connected to mental health issues as well. But if we can be more flexible, because people think I'm not flexible when it comes to staffing because I set targets and goals and all that sort of stuff. But that's just the structure that we work around. We must absolutely be flexible with our team, or as much as our business will allow. My name's Carl Hinder, and you're listening to the Salon Help Good to Go podcast, the podcast for salon spa and clinic owners who want to grow with more structure, more confidence, and better results. Episode 53. Tracy Munro talking to salon and business owners about managing the menopause in the workplace. Right then, guys, welcome to another Salon Health Good to Go podcast. Now, this podcast goes out every Sunday at 4 p.m. The whole idea is to kick-start your week. We have a different subject every week, and usually we have a different guest as well. And this week, we've got Tracy Munro. Now, Tracy Munro is a mindful menopause coach. So, Tracy, do you want to introduce yourself, and do you want to tell us what a mindful menopause coach does?
Yes, thank you, Carl. Thank you for inviting me here. So, my name's Tracy Munro, and I am the Mindful Menopause Coach. A Mindful Menopause Coach helps to support women through the menopause due to my own experiences of feeling lost, lonely, and sad. I don't want any other women to feel like this. So, I help women to thrive and not just survive through the menopause.
That sounds like you kind of know that, don't you? That's your kind of your mantra, if you like.
Yeah.
And as a man, I'm kind of on the other side of the kind of menopause, if you like. I'm always fighting this corner. I've done so many sessions on menopause in the last few months because to me, as a business coach, it is so important that everyone, I mean everyone, from the junior to the boss, and to people outside our organization as well, understand the impact that it's having on individuals. So let's kind of start with that, if you like. Let's talk about the individuals. Let's talk about the salon owners, spa owners, clinic owners. Is it, these
Okay.
guys are already stressed out, right? They've already got these big bills and challenging staff. Okay, the staff won't appreciate me saying that. They've already got all this stuff going on. And then on top of that, they're in a situation where things are changing for them. So if they are not in that situation now, what can they expect? Yeah, and if they are in that situation, what can we say to them?
Okay, so the menopause can affect us at any age, really, even from any time, from the time we start our periods, we can go into the menopause. So we can't really give an actual age, but it generally starts affecting us in our late 30s, early 40s. We go into perimenopause, which is the menopause is just actually one day in time where we actually stop our periods for 12 consecutive months. Anything before that is perimenopause. Anything after that is postmenopause, just to clear up those terms. So, with going back to the salon owner, like you said, Carl, she'll probably be very stressed, feeling exhausted, and how women explain it to me very often is they don't feel like they're themselves, and you sometimes need to dig a bit deeper with that and find out what's going on. Now, with the salon owners, generally it will be things like brain fog, difficulty in concentrating. Now, they can take supplements, things like lion's mane. They can use phytoestrogens to help them with that. They can also use wellness techniques like mindfulness and CBT to help with that brain fog and that difficulty in concentrating. Now, this woman, if she's anything like I was at this stage, may not be sleeping very well, might be up 2 or 3 times a night, changing the bedclothes because she's got night sweats. And this, for me particularly, was the hardest thing, the lack of sleep. So obviously that doesn't help with the concentration and the stress as well if we don't sleep at night. There are some things we can do. We can use magnesium to help with our sleep patterns. And also what I always encourage my clients to do in clinic is to create a nurturing nighttime routine where they're doing journaling and brain dumping, all of these things that are going around in their head onto paper. So it clears their mind, and then do some breathing techniques or some meditation or both to really like calm the nervous system so that they go off to bed to sleep and sleep hopefully through the night if we've addressed those hot sweats.
Well, do you know what? I just realized that I made a mistake last night. I did a, I thought it was a good overwhelm and overload stroke business stress workshop last night. It was a really good workshop, loads of energy, loads of interaction, loads of messages in my inbox over the last 12 hours saying thank you. And I talked about doing brain dumps. I talked about doing, I don't know, understanding what overwhelm is, being sensory overloaded, being all emotional about things. I didn't connect business overload. So we're not still in that mindset where it's natural. I still didn't discuss that the menopause could be connected. I really made it all business connected or family connected, and this could be bang in the middle of. You wouldn't know that you're just dealing with business issues, and you've got this. I can't know. You've got this extra missile, if you like,
Yeah, well,
on
it's
top of
a
everything else.
exactly, Cole. It's a natural transition for all women, and some women suffer more than others. But overwhelm is something that these women will definitely feel. So that connection is right. You know, where you've helped joining the dots together like that is what I'm all about. You know, it's like seeing
Yeah.
what's there and pulling it together.
I think as well when you're at that stage, then because in the early stages, in the peri kind of stage, you don't know when it's starting, right? You have no idea. It's creeping up upon you, and it's creeping up upon the people around you as well. All right.
Yeah.
And for full disclosure, you guys, to all the listeners, I'm in a menopausal household. Okay, so maybe this isn't a professional kind of interest. Maybe this is a self-preservation, or I'm trying to manage my relationship. I don't know, but it is a real area that I think all business owners, all staff, everyone connected with a business has got to deal with.
Well, menopause affects us all, Carl. You know, we've all got like a mother, a sister,
Yeah,
a partner, work colleagues. Do you know what I mean? Anyone that knows a woman is going to get
yeah,
affected by it.
yeah. But in those early stages, what I was going to say is, in a way, it's like elementary deduction. You've got to kind of work out, because you won't know what's happening unless you're kind of like super super focused on it. You would know, but nobody else would know. I would say as well, from a business coaching point of view, in a way, you want to get rid of other areas that are causing you overwhelm and stress, and so you can say, well, actually, I'm really really organized in my business life, or I'm really kind of financially successful, or I have an amazing team that take the pressure off me, and I'm still in this situation. Now maybe we should be looking at something else. What kind of indicators? I mean, I'm getting used to these indicators, but what kind of indicators could people be looking for that are not business related? Are there kind of metaphysical ones?
Yeah, what I would say, Carl, is every woman from the time they start their periods should be doing a tracking, should be tracking in some way. Now, if they track, then they will start to see these differences. Obviously, as we go into perimenopause, like you say, it is like almost in a hindsight that you realise what you're going through. And the very first symptoms we have are connected, are brain symptoms. So they will be brain fog, lack of concentration, forgetting your husband's name, or, you know, calling your son your husband's name, been there, done it. You know,
Yeah,
it's like, and they think you're going mad. And actually, you start to think you're going mad yourself, and you're not. What it is your ovaries speak to your brain, and your brain speaks to your ovaries constantly, every day. So when we're losing the estrogen, these connections aren't the same. So that's where we're then having these problems putting our keys in the fridge. It's like, and you're up and together, but you do these
Yeah.
crazy things, and they're the things you start to notice. A lack of confidence as well, and women always say to me they just don't feel like themselves. That's how they describe it, in exactly those words. So I would say, if you're not feeling like yourself, start tracking, start noticing how you feel each day. I've got a tracker that you can use, and if you don't have cycles, you can track in line with the moon, so that you can see where those symptoms are actually happening, and see if there's
Mm.
any patterns creating, because so many women these days don't have their own natural cycles, so it's good to link it to something so that you can recognize the patterns.
Did you just say you've got a tracker that they can
Yes.
access?
Yeah.
I tell you what we'll do, guys. We'll make sure that the link to that, or the link to Tracy, is in the show notes. So if
Yeah.
you want to go and get access to that, we will be talking about how to get access to more information and get in contact with Tracy in a little while. But yeah, that could be really really helpful for some people. Now,
Yeah.
my wife won't thank me for saying this, but my wife recently, in the last few days, went to the supermarket to get dishwasher tablets, and she came home with everything but the dishwasher tablets, and she only went there for that.
I know.
I'm now, a year or two ago, we would have kind of like maybe um given her a little bit of stick, but now you kind of got, well, okay, we get the picture, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. My house used to be like Post-it note city, Carl.
Yeah.
Post-it notes absolutely everywhere, because I couldn't remember my own name sometimes, you
Yeah,
know.
it's challenging, isn't it? One
Mm.
of the things that we brought up, or I brought it up last time, which I do want to touch on in this, because this is about everyone. Okay, this is about the whole of society, if you like. We talked about how the older generation see managing this different to the younger generation, and obviously men are now seeing it and deal. And I'm so pleased when I'm speaking to business owners of any gender, that everyone is kind of tuned into this, because it's so important. But let's talk about the older generation now. Why do they see it differently? And is that difficult for the youngsters to kind of manage, do you think?
Well, generally, I think your findings are similar to mine, Carl, as in they say just get on with it, is
Yeah,
what
that's the
they
one.
say.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's generally women that are, in their 60s and have gone through it. So, it things are different these days, is what I would say. If we look at their lives, they're very different potentially to how our lives are these days. We've got potentially at home, we've got growing children, stroke young
Mhm.
adults living at home, which, as we know, is very stressful. We have elderly relatives to support and help as well. Plus, we're at the top of our game in our business, and we're running a business. If we look back to those generations, generally they wouldn't have maybe worked, or if they did, they had a job. They didn't have maybe as much stress and pressure as we have today, and I call that the modern menopause, because I feel that that's what it is. We're living the modern menopause, and it's very very different to how these other generations have been through it.
I think that's really interesting that we term it in the modern menopause, and it clearly is. Like you said, life is just so different, isn't it,
Mm.
for everyone. I also think that time is a great healer. Do families, or women in particular, wouldn't have babies, would they? Right? If they remembered, if you could remember the pain of that moment, or that you kind of like, oh, that's the end of that. But time's a great healer, and I think maybe when you've gone through it, or maybe, and I don't mean as a symptom, I just mean as part of life, you forget about all the inconvenience and the sweats and the the hot and cold and the memory loss. And I think maybe as you're a bit older, you look back and you go, "Hey, we weren't that bad." But maybe it's about time as well.
I think so, Carl. And I also think that, like once you get through the perimenopause and your postmenopausal and your hormones are much more stable again, you're then in a place where you can actually reap that pot of gold. And, you can then start working from a different place where your hormones are more regulated, but at a lower level. And I think, like you say, that our memories fade with things like this, and some people don't. Some women don't actually suffer that much. But the other thing is the more stress women are under, the more their symptoms are a problem, because HRT will work for 40. Sorry, let me get my figures right here. Right, 54% of women will get relief from HRT, 46% won't. And the reason that 46% won't get relief is because they need to regulate their nervous system,
Okay.
because they're overloaded with that stress, and that sometimes doctors are giving them more and more HRT, but it's not actually working, and it's
On
because of that
yeah,
level of stress response in their body.
on the HRT note, is there a point? I mean, okay, I know the answer is that it's different for everyone, but is there a trigger that you can say to a lady? You say, okay, at this point, it's time to visit the doctors. I know that it can't be at an age, but is there a
Yeah,
point in where things are going on? You go now, go.
yeah.
What kind of signpost can we have for them?
Well, obviously they can start off with supplements, maybe evening primrose oil and starflower oil for things like hot flushes. Like I said, the lion's mane for brain fog. They can use things like that. And then if those things start to not be as effective, then they can potentially go to their doctor. And personally, myself, I got to the point where I couldn't sleep. I wasn't myself. I was like emotional. So I went to the doctor. The first doctor I went to see looked at my age on the screen, and I was 42, and he said I was too young to be perimenopausal. So in those days, you actually saw a doctor face to face, and I decided to go on his day off to see a different doctor who actually helped me with that and put me first of all on a drug called clonidine, which is very good for the vasomotor, hot sweats, and night sweats. And so that within 3 weeks had adjusted my night sweats, and I skipped back into his office, and he was like, oh my goodness, the difference. But it isn't the doctor's fault, Carl, because over 40% of the UK doctors haven't had training in menopause. So it's not their fault. So my biggest thing to tell people when they're going to the doctors is to ask for the menopause expert in your clinic. And obviously this is becoming more of a thing now. There's more women talking about, or more people talking about it, but you really need to pursue it. If you don't get the answer that you feel is correct, just go back and ask again.
Fair enough. Sounds like great advice. Okay, so we've got these salon business owners. Okay, they're already got business issues. Even if they've got fabulous, fabulous businesses, there are always business issues. That's nature of running a business.
Mhm.
Um, at some stage, many women will go through this process and have these added issues, if we can call them that. Let's kind of go. If we had a pyramid and we were talking about, let's go down a level, because I am very keen as a business coach in identifying this as how do we manage this with our teams as well. Because first of all, your team have got to manage you, right? They've got to make allowances for you, or they've got to be aware of it, or you've got to change your functional behavior. When I say that, you can't change your emotions, but you can change the actions that you take. And then, of course, so we've got to manage the owner, the staff have, but of course, many of the staff are going through this.
Yeah.
So when we get to that level, if we are allowed to say that, when we're at the staffing level, how can we help them? Should we kind of be making allowances? You know, we know the older generation would say, "No, get on with it." Um, but in a more kind of realistic way, are there things that we could do?
I think keeping communication open in staff meetings or potentially in one-to-ones, that can really help, Carl, so that the staff feel they can approach the owner. I think that the owners, they need to be thinking of the staff from the point of view that they might be suffering with hot sweats, so they might need a few adjustments, things like a fan or ventilation in the room. They may struggle to wear, depending on what your tunic or your outfit, your uniform is made of. They may struggle if it is made of man-made fibres. So there might need to be a little bit of consideration for that. And can they wear layers so that they can, if they're having a flush, they can take layers off or put layers back on if they get colder. In the beauty industry, this might cause a little bit more of a problem because we don't want our clients freezing cold. So how I manage that is have a heated blanket for the client and a blanket to keep them warm if I need to be cooler.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
sorry.
Sorry.
No, go on.
I was going to say my good friend Sam Blake would say that at this point she wouldn't use these words, but she would say this is a good opportunity to do some kind of risk assessment.
Yes.
I mean, it sounds a bit kind of too dramatic to call it a risk assessment, but we should do some kind of assessment, and that should be part of our staffing manual. It should be part of our procedures and our identification and our communication, and we should have channels because it can be very sensitive. Some people are kind of like just open and they'll just say, "Listen, I got this issue. We got to deal with it." Other people will be so embarrassed. So
Yes.
I would say we need some kind of built into every business, and it doesn't matter whether we're salon, spa, or clinic, or whether you're a chip shop or a car manufacturer. You're gonna have to have this built into your processes if you want to get the best from your workforce, right?
Yeah, I agree. Some sort of policy or something that people can refer to if they're at this stage, because also you're going to get therapists. In beauty in particular, it's probably similar in hair actually. Your joints are so sore, and you end up like trying to do back to back massage all day every day, which might be something you've been able to do, maybe something you can't do, and it might need to be interspersed with other treatments to help the therapist, because it is painful, and we need to keep our therapists working for us because we don't want to lose staff. So it's sort of working out what we can do within the business to support the staff, but also keep the business profitable as well. So yeah, I mean, one in six women will have a hip fracture due to osteoporosis, because our bones regenerate like our hair and our skin does. And the problem is with these hip fractures is 20% of women will die within a month, 30% will die within a year. And it's actually making women's disability free life expectancy 61, and their actual average age of death for a woman is 82.
Yeah.
So we really need to be supporting our bones properly, because otherwise we could end up with issues, disability issues moving forward because of our bones thinning.
I think it's really interesting that you know it's really interesting that we need to follow kind of my coaching guidelines or other people's coaching guidelines as well, in the sense that what you said there, someone can't do back to back, back to back, back to back massages all day. We know that there are challenges. There always have been challenges in recruiting the very best people.
Mm,
I always say to salon spa clinic owners, you've got to work harder at getting your team, building your team, and then maintaining and retaining your team. This is a positive. I think if we can get salon business owners, and it's the same with mental health awareness and all the other issues as well. And this obviously is clearly connected to mental health issues as well. But if we can be more flexible, because people think I'm not flexible when it comes to staffing because I set targets and goals and all that sort of stuff. But that's just the structure that we work around. We must absolutely be flexible with our team, or as much as our business will allow. So I think, that suggestion about, look, we can't do back to back all day. Now, if there's only one or two of you in the business, that's going to be harder, right? It's going to be
Yeah,
harder to kind of like, oh, well, you just do half a day, because there's one thing I'm keen to make sure that we talk about with any kind of illness, disability, syndrome. We talked about what did we talk about last night? We talked about burnout syndrome. So apparently, according to the World Health Organization, there's no such thing as burnout. It's just a syndrome that we have created. Okay, this is not Carl Hinder business coaching. This is the WHO. That doesn't mean we don't have to manage it.
yeah.
Because it's a syndrome, it doesn't mean we don't manage it. So whether we are managing a disability, managing a menopause, managing a syndrome, we have to get better at doing all of that if we want the best from our business.
Yeah, because those women, the therapists, the staff, if they could have well been with you some time and they're going through this, and once they've gone through it, they'll be able to potentially go back. But it's like helping them to
Yeah.
supporting them, because otherwise, Cole, you might lose them.
Oh, well, that's what I mean. We got to retain them, and
Yeah,
we've got to work harder at retaining people.
yeah.
I want to put a caveat in there. We did talk about this last time we caught up, and that is we should bend and flex and make the working environment as accessible as possible to everyone. We have to be super careful, though, guys, that we don't impact a client negatively. And
Yes.
and I have been in operations. When I say operations, not medical operations, I have been in people's businesses where they've turned off the heating, as an example, and the clients are frozen. And like you said, with the booty, if you're doing a massage or something like that, you got more access on a table because you can use a heated blanket, or you could preheat the room or something like that. Other sectors will have more difficulty. A nail table isn't going to be able to do that. A hairdresser might have a challenge doing that. Now, I don't know what the solution is for every person, but you have to have that in mind, that we can't just say, right, we must look after the staff, or I must look after myself and impact your business. There is a kind of a balance to be made. Would you agree with that in some way?
I would agree with that. And, that's where communication can come in, isn't it, Carl? Because you could say, well, what can we do to help you with this, and come up with some sort of plan. And also the staff, need to take a bit of responsibility for themselves. Very often, they won't be doing a lot of self-care. They, might be very busy. And we're in this society that sort of glorifies busyness, and really we need to, at this stage of our life, we need to be actually taking time for ourselves sometimes, and actually stepping back and developing those nurturing routines and looking after ourselves, so that then we're better at work. So it's about coming up with a plan. And the problem is, when women are deep in the thick of perimenopause, they might not know which way to go. So whether you could put together a document or use something of mine, to help them with mindfulness, breathing, meditating, journaling, so that they're actually nurturing themselves and their body, so that then they're better for work, they're better for their family. It's about supporting the whole woman.
Yeah. So the way I see this, the bigger the organization, the easier this is to manage in a way,
Mm.
because when you're a big organization, you have HR managers.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can say, you're not looking very well, or your performance isn't very good, or something like that. And you go and see HR. Now, if
yeah,
there's two, three, four, five of us in the salon, there is no HR. There's me. Yeah, I'm the salon owner. I'm the marketer. I'm everything to everyone. But what I do know is, in some of these smaller salons, they do have HR. I'll talk about menopause now, but HR for mental wellness.
Yes.
where they pay a certain amount every month to these big organizations, and they say to them, I've paid for you to have 3 mental health sessions a year just by phoning that number. Diving back over to menopause, is that something that you provide or could provide? Is that something like let's say I'm the salon owner, I got 5 female members of staff. I don't know how to manage all this, even though I'm a sensitive kind of person, right? And I'm fully aware, and I'm like, maybe you don't want to talk to me, because that's the other thing, isn't it?
Yes.
I can
Yeah.
be as fully as aware as I want, but for a lady to sit down with me might not be their thing. Could we do that? Can we actually say, yeah, here's Tracy's telephone number? Of course, we'd organise a financial arrangement between the business owner and you, Tracy.
Yes.
But with that in place, could they phone you and say, listen, Tracy, you're an expert. My boss hasn't got a clue what's going on. What
Yes.
can I do? That's there. Is that a support for them?
Yeah, I can definitely do that support for the salon owners and the staff. Yeah, it could be that interface and help, help the staff and the salon owner to, come up with a plan that's, business like, but also supportive of the woman going through the menopause as well. Definitely.
Great. So if you're a salon owner and you're listening to this, it doesn't matter if you're male or female, by the way. Maybe some female bosses are not very empathetic or understanding, or maybe not approachable either. If you're
Or,
one of those
or
people,
they may not just want to talk to their boss about it as well,
oh,
Carl, for
totally.
whatever
Yeah,
reason, might
yeah,
feel embarrassed
yeah.
to.
But the
Mm.
value of building your team these days and maintaining them is immeasurable. So you know, build that into your plans, guys. Build that into your plans. If you are not good at managing this kind of thing, then maybe speak with Tracy again. Her contact will be in the show notes, and set that up. It's got to be one less issue for the business. It'd be a little bit of pressure off you as well. You'll appear to new candidates as well as being more professional, because you'll have a good reputation, and your overall business profits will grow eventually, because you're going to be able to maintain these people. Now, we kind of talked about the salon owners, and it does evolve around the business owners, because they say to me, Carl, you blame me for everything. You always tell me that it's my fault. And it's true. Oh, sorry, guys, but everything is your fault, no matter how we look at this. So you have to look after yourself. And there are people out there like myself and Tracy who will support you in kind of getting your mind into the right place to seek the support. Most of the responsibility towards your staff is from yourself as well. So you got to do that. But this all filters down. It could be filtering up as well, by the way. Okay, for those of you on podcast, I got my fingers going up and my fingers going down, right? Yeah, it could be filtering up as well, but usually it's going to filter down to the client. So with a client, this is this pyramid thing I was thinking about. With a
Yes.
client, Tracy, I think we got 2 things. First of all, how do we manage? How do we help the client? We don't want to impact the client. We kind of touched on that.
Yes.
But now in our chairs, on our tables, at the nail table, at the desk, wherever, we may have ladies who are peri or menopausal. How do we identify that? How can we help them? But what's your coaching advice?
With regard to the clients, is to listen to what they're saying really carefully. If you're in beauty, you're probably doing some sort of consultation. So obviously you can dig a bit deeper in that consultation. But if you're a nail salon or a hair salon, it might be a little bit different. So just listen carefully to what they say. I mean, as I said before, most women will say they're not quite feeling themselves. So you can just ask them, well, what does that look like for you? And, they might say, oh, I'm calling my husband my son's name, and, I've put the keys in the fridge, or forgotten the dishwasher tablets, and you can start to build a pattern. And often it's the main things are often these brain connections, like I said. The sleep is often an issue. It's often disturbed, and the woman's saying she doesn't feel like herself. So they're sort of the main things that you'd be looking for. And your ears or your spidey senses would start thinking, oh, this sounds like she could be going into perimenopause. Obviously, different situations, you're going to be able to talk about that in different ways, because, you know, if you're in the middle of a busy hair salon, it might be a little bit more difficult to go into detail. Whereas if you're in a treatment room doing a consultation, you can, you know, dig a bit deeper on those and see what's really going on. But you can help, support, listen, and, you know, give some wellness tips like we've been giving here, in those conversations, and have those confident conversations with your clients, because then they start to trust you, and, you know, they come back for more. My clients don't go anywhere else. Which is
Yeah.
great, you know, but it's like it builds those nice, those firm connections.
Yeah. And I think that there is an opportunity here for us to do more for our clients. And when I say that, I don't think there's many more people who have a better opportunity than us. And I'm talking about hair, beauty, skin clinic, the whole sector now. Even if you're a nail tech, you know, you got hold of someone's hand for an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't remember the last time I held someone's hand for an hour. It's probably been my mum when I was 7 years old or 6 years old or something, right? So you got hold of someone's hand for an hour. You have an awesome opportunity. Now, of course, there is a privacy element as well. I get that. But I think the real crux to being professional in any of our sectors is the consultation. You mentioned it quite a few times.
Yeah.
And even our motive for asking these questions is professional. So, you know, if we're going to ask someone like about asking them, do you sleep very well? You know, that forget about the menopause moment. That could just be indicating the type of treatment they need, the kind of massage they need, the kind of skin treatment they need. You know, because if they're not sleeping very well, they might not have a very good routine. They might not be doing their skin routine, whatever it is. That's a genuine thing. We almost just need to kind of re-bump up the consultation. I don't know how we do it, but there needs to be some boxes in there to kind of alerts for us, you know, to say, well, you know, not sleeping, hot flushes, forgetting things, because there are treatments that can um, soothe. Is that the right word? I
Yeah.
think that we can soothe the client, because that's our job as well, right? Is to make them feel good even for short periods. And then as those relationships grow, because we know, and it will be, I promise you, even in the hairdressing chairs, I've heard much more private things, okay, that we can't talk about on this podcast, things that make your hair curl, right? Um, so we know that once the relationship is built, that they will share that. Now, I was watching something the other day, a professional thing that says that it takes about a year of salon visits for the client to stop becoming your client and become your friend. Now, there's a whole kind of coaching thing here to kind of warn you against that, but you can't help human nature, if you like. Those things are going to happen. You have to be professional about it, otherwise, you know, you would have doctors being inappropriate, wouldn't you, if like every client after you was their friend? But it takes about a year or 7 contact points, 7 visits, if we're going to call it that, where they go from being a stranger to a friend. So if you've got someone in your chair, on your table, at the nail desk, at the reception desk for that matter, as a front of house person, in that year, your relationship will change enough to be able to broach those things with many clients.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
the key to this is the consultation. We should be doing all our consultations in a private area because we should be finding out more. We should be finding out, are you going on holiday? How are you managing this? What kind of a job have you got? Are you thinking of changing jobs? Are you having any kind of sleep issues? Are you having any difficulty with your skin? Are you having any dryness? Listen, I'm not doing consultation training today. The point is that the consultation is our powerhouse. It's our powerhouse for sales. It always has been. It's our powerhouse for customer service. And to me, this is just an enhanced customer service.
Yeah, that's right, Carl. And consultation is key, like in our businesses anyway, but certainly with regard to menopause, because you could put a few key questions in there that then, you know, women would start to open up, and it would give you that avenue.
Yeah, and for those that are kind of on the fence with consultations, this is more to do with coaching than menopause. Make sure that your consultations are written, guys, so that if you've got a team of 3 or a team of 30, you are all delivering a very, very similar, if not identical, hopefully, type
Mm.
of consultation. Because you can't be expected as a member of staff to remember everything either. And if I had 10 staff, they can't all remember the same thing. I'm not talking about the menopause now.
Yeah, and then add the menopause into that.
Oh,
You've got no
well,
hope.
yeah, well, let's joke about that because imagine having 10 ladies on the menopause doing 10 consultations. God knows what the outcome would be. I'm quite sure there would be a
they'd,
professional outcome,
they'd be
but
very different. That's one thing we can
wouldn't they?
guarantee.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's not take any chances. But that I wasn't talking about. I was just talking about 10 non-menopausal people. You should still have consistency in your business. So writing things down. It's the same with retail. In the middle of that consultation should be your retail, and that retail could be highly connected.
Yeah.
I did a session with Katie Holohan on who deals with menopause, but from a trichologist's point of view. So you should be, you know, looking at that as well. You that should be coming up in your consultation and saying, okay, so the menopause is affecting your hair, it's affecting your skin, it's affecting this. Maybe we've got something that will temporarily help with that. A bit like you were saying about what was it, primrose oil and that sort of stuff earlier.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, we can help at that level before we go medical.
Yeah, and also, Carl, this is one of the things is you've touched on. We can help our clients with a more relaxing treatment, even with nails. Including more a bit a hand massage, or with a scalp massage with the hairdressers. Obviously, in beauty, it's quite easy to steer them towards more relaxing treatments. Now, what what we also see is, like you've just touched on there, the hair. 41% of postmenopausal women notice hair loss. So, that is massive, and obviously is going to impact the woman quite a lot. So, there's scope there for you to be able to help the woman with supplements, with, treatments to help and support her hair. In skin, there's a 46% chance of women noticing a difference in their skin. The thing that I see the most in my clinic is rosacea and lines and wrinkles. They're what the women, notice the most. And because of the massive impact on the skin, that's why I developed my course specifically for skin therapists to help their clients with the menopause and the skin issues that they're getting. Obviously, with nails, they're going to get dry, brittle. So there's scope again for supplementation, and there's scope for retailing oils or creams for their hands and their nails. So there's definitely scope within our businesses for this, because menopausal women are generally, they can carve out pockets of time if given the right surroundings, if you like. They can carve out the pockets of time, and often they've got a little bit more disposable income as well. So it's quite a good it's good for our business as well, especially if we can give them this support, because they're going to keep coming back for more because they want that support along their journey as well. And by helping them as a whole person, we're really going to keep them as a lifelong client.
Yeah, I think that kind of ties in with my thoughts and ethos on the whole industry, and I'm going everywhere from from barbershops to um, clinics. We have got to be more professional. And I don't mean people aren't acting in a professional way, but we got to be offer more professional services if we want to kind of get the respect that we deserve, yeah, from our clients. If we want to get the respect that we deserve from other industries, I think the first place we have to do is give ourselves some respect, and we have to do that by being more professional. I just think if we don't do it, who will do it? That kind of, I'm going to call it a burden because it's kind of a challenge. If we don't take on that challenge of helping our client, they're either going to wait for their best friend to tell them and point them in the right direction if they've got a best friend, right? Or they're going to end up at the doctor's and they could have spent 3, 4, 5, 10 years in a better situation with your support. I just think this is a no-brainer for us. It helps us be more professional and grows our sales. Yeah, business coach speak. We get to grow sales from this, guys, but that isn't the origin of what we're trying to do.
Well, we're helping those women, aren't we? We're helping them. And often, like in our salons, we're so privileged, aren't we, that clients share stuff with us. Like you mentioned earlier, Carl, that's hair curling. And very often they'll talk to therapists or hairdressers prior to going to the doctor. So many times I've had to say to my clients, really think you should go to the doctor and, talk about this. So especially when a client is in that perimenopause, they're not probably feeling like they need to go to the doctor, but they're not feeling like themselves. So there's a big scope there for us to support them and help them, and then when the time comes that they maybe need to go on HRT, then they know, they're fully aware of what's going on, and they've got their tracker, and they go to the doctor, they're informed, they know what they're asking for. So we've supported them along that journey, and there's so much scope for us to do that.
Yeah, I think once I mean, signposting them like it's just a fabulous thing to do. We are fabulous. We are such a caring
Mm.
industry. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's that caring thing that makes us fabulous technicians and therapists, makes us sometimes awful business owners because we spend too much time caring. But yeah, we've got to kind of generate that discussion. And I don't think this discussion point for most people is going to be that difficult. I think once you have a relationship with your therapist or technician or your hairdresser for that matter, I think it'll be an easy hurdle. Now, just kind of going aside here, people are more inclined, you might be shocked when I say this now, people are more inclined to talk about their sex life, true this is, okay, than they will talk about the amount of money they earn. All right. And you will go out with your friends. Think about anyone listening to this now, you're all going to be nodding. You will go out with your friends maybe this weekend. You might have a couple of beers. You might say all sorts of things about your sex life. None of you will ask the other person, how much money are you on? Okay. I've got two friends that I've grown up since childhood. The stuff we've discussed would make it hair fall out after it curled. And we have never asked each other, how much money are you earning?
Yeah,
Okay. We,
interesting.
not their business. We know that with their business, I know how much money their business generates if they're self-employed or whatever. But I don't have any amount of money that they earn, and if they're working for another organization. So we are probably more likely to talk about the menopause. It is out there. Okay, you got
Yeah.
me talking about it, not just me. People like me talking about it. We got great experts like yourself. It is on the news. Okay, it is, on posters in doctor surgeries. It is becoming normal in society to discuss it, and I hope that continues because it's just going to make everyone's life easier.
And
And at the end of the day, I'm going to be able to wash my dishes as well.
I think it is gonna. I think it will carry on, because I've attracted this demographic of women since I left college at 18, and I didn't realise what they were going through. It was my own journey that made me think, I've got to help women and this is why I want to help the clinics, because then we can help more women together, and that's where the impact is going to be in our industry. And we're privileged to be in this position, and I feel like we owe it to our clients to help them. And we can, like we've discussed here, we can quite easily with some education, help them. So yeah.
Well, look, there's no downsides to helping ourselves, helping our staff, and helping our clients. So there's not as if we shouldn't. It might be challenging in terms of it's another thing for you think you have to do. If you're overwhelmed and stressed with business, I kind of get that. But it is becoming normalized, and there are no downsides that I can see anyway.
And also, I'm here, Carl. I can support. I can support the salons if they want any help. They just reach out, email me, and we can,
Well,
work
okay.
out work
Well,
out something.
let's talk about that. So, okay, we're coming to the end of the podcast, guys, but
Okay.
this is the important part, really. You may need support that I can't help you with. I can help you with growing your business, growing your sales, and I will understand how to manage your team and some of the menopausal um, implications. Tracy, how can you help them? How do people get hold of you? What's the best way for them to be getting in touch? And all of this information will be in the show notes, guys. So you haven't got to remember it, but listen to
Yeah.
Tracy because you need support.
Well, I can support salons one to one, like we've just talked about. If you've got menopausal clients and you want some support, maybe 3 sessions with me for a member of staff, I can do that. If you want me to help you with that, reach out, email me, contact me on socials. And also, I'm doing a mindful menopause training day. And this is going to elevate your business so that you can work less while you're generating more impact for your clients and more income and more freedom within your business. You will learn, or together we'll create a treatment collection for you for menopausal women using treatments that you've already got. So it doesn't necessarily mean going out and getting other skills, and I will add in things that I have found useful in my salon that you can include. And then this will create like sensory experiences for your clients, which is what my clients tell me they have. And it increases your profit because those treatments can um, attract a better profit for you. You'll also, like I've touched on before, attract these lifelong clients, which obviously have a lot of value to us in our business. They'll recommend your services and they'll rebook on repeat, which makes sure that you've got business growth. So if this sounds of interest to you, then as Carl said, the details will be in the show notes below. I'm going to do a training day, or I can come to the salon and do it with your team, and we can do it as a salon day in your salon. So you can either do it as a day you can do it as a day training either your salon or come to a training along with the one-to-one support I suggested at the beginning. So I will pop my details, like Carl says, in the show notes, and then please reach out to me and we will, I'll help you wherever I can, because this is something that can grow our businesses and make our businesses more profit, which is what we're wanting to do, along with helping, from a very helpful place as well. So once you've learnt this information, you'll be able to pass it on to all your women that are suffering with the menopause. So
Do you know what? I'm excited about that. I can imagine, no, seriously, I can imagine now that a salon owner going to their team and saying, look, we've got this opportunity to do something a little bit different, to
yeah,
focus on something. Because, you know, as you said, people are doing back to back services and they're not robots. Okay. We have to kind of remember that. I know they've got to deliver the processes. That's how the business works. But this is an opportunity to learn something new, or maybe not learn something new, put things in different perspective, right?
yeah, and
Existing.
include what you've already got, because
Yeah.
I feel like we've all got lots of skills at our stage of business, Carl, and it's like pulling them together. And I found this way, that I can pull them together and help these women so much, and they're so grateful. And we're doing treatments that we love to do, and it's earning us a good living. So what, there's nothing to lose.
No. There's there's no downside, is there?
No, it's a
To that
win-win, isn't it?
win-win. Well, I think, Tracy, on the win-win note, I like to finish on a win. Look, is there anything you want to exit with? Is there anything you'd like to say to the viewers that we haven't
I
already said?
I think I've covered everything, Carl. Just, if you've got a question or if you want to reach out about these opportunities, please just reach out to me. I'm always happy, to discuss these opportunities with you. And thank you, Carl, for inviting me on here. It's been most enjoyable.
Thank you for joining me. Now, listen, guys, that was Tracy Munro, mindful menopause coach. Thank you for joining me on the Salon Help Good to Go podcast. Like I said at the beginning, we are here every Sunday at 4 p.m. Sometimes you get me on my own. Sometimes we have fabulous guests like Tracy. But the idea is to kickstart your week, get you thinking differently, and really, really get your business moving forward. So I will catch you on the next episode. Been listening to the Salon Help Good to Go podcast. Please take a look in the show notes for the links that you need. Leave a review and let other salon, spa and clinic owners know that I'm here every Sunday at 4 p.m. to kickstart their week.